This episode of The Big Picture is presented by Starbucks. We are big Starbucks Frappuccino fans over here, so when we heard about the new Strato Frappuccino blended beverage, we had to try it. It's a crave-worthy iced blended beverage topped with cold foam, making for delicious layers of flavor.
I love how Starbucks leans into the seasons, especially summer. From vibrant refreshers to cold blended beverages, there's always something exciting to sip on.
Available now for a limited time only, your Strato Frappuccino blended beverage is ready at Starbucks. I'm Sean Fennessey.
I'm Amanda Dobbins.
And this is 25 for 25, a big picture special conversation show about Moneyball and how can you not be romantic about baseball. We are here live at the Music Box Theater. We've just watched this wonderful movie, and let's talk about it briefly. I'll give some details for the audience, even though they've just sat here and watched the movie and watched the credits and they know everything I'm about to say. Hang with me. Directed by Bennett Miller. Written by Steven Zalian and Aaron Sorkin. Originally to be directed by Amanda's beloved Steven Soderbergh. Yeah. We will get into that. Starring Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill. Who else is in this movie? Chris Pratt, Robin Wright, Spike Jonze.
PSH. Thank you. Philip Seymour
Hoffman. God bless the dead. And this movie was, I'm serious. This is an Academy Award nominated film, considered one of the best movies of the century by many people, including us. It's been an object of affection and fascination on the show for years. Why did we pick this one?
This is a passion project. And I just got to say, it did warm my heart. We did not announce what movie we would be screening before it started here in the Music Box Theater tonight. So you did not know. Did anyone guess? Raising your hands? Okay. Yeah, all right. I would say that's like 5% of the room, which is good. Congratulations. You should feel good about yourself. But
everyone wanted it to be The Dark Knight.
Well, I think...
Sorry, bros.
Yeah. Listen, I tried, but also I didn't try. Anyway, it really warmed my heart to hear a large room of people cheering, even if you were just being nice, when you realized that it was Moneyball, because it is one of my favorite movies, certainly, of the decade. And I do understand why it hits a lot of soft spots for me, but the best sports movie of the decade, one of the, for my money, the best performance by one of the great movie stars of our generation, written or at least half written by one of the great screenwriters of my life when he is being interpreted by other directors. Thank you so much. Please put a note in that. And,
what about Being the Ricardos?
Remember when I literally put off my the birth of my child for one day to see whether Being the Ricardos got nominated? Yeah. It didn't. That's okay. And just at some point, it is like the line in the movie, like, how can you not be romantic about this movie? Which is a lot of things that are not romantic. It's about math. It is about like a lot of math. And there are just a lot of numbers at screen all the time. Everybody in it's pretty angry. Mm-hmm. And a little touchy, and no one is wearing flattering pants, and it's really, really tough, and there's a lot of archival, it's very piecey, and I think the score is really magical, but it's not really swooning until it is, so it doesn't immediately jump out as a sentimental, just irresistible classical sports movie, but to me it is.
It's a weird movie. It's based on a nonfiction book by Michael Lewis, which was a wild bestseller. I don't know if I've ever asked you, have you read the book Moneyball?
No, of course not.
Okay. Any Moneyball fans of the book? Yeah.
You read it? Has anyone read Bill James? Yeah, crickets. Okay. All right, we got one shaking his hand.
I mean, Bill James was a great thinker about baseball. Other stuff, he's pretty weird. Okay. He's got a lot of feelings about who killed JFK. I don't know if people know that.
Don't we all? Chris Ryan is in the room tonight.
CR is here. And he is currently going through the deleted files to figure out who killed JFK, so he won't be with us tonight. He will be here tomorrow.
Literally yesterday was like, so what you do is you just Control F for things you're interested in. This was what we talked about at dinner. Anyway.
Yes. And that's what a lot of baseball general managers started doing with Bill James when he was exploring sabermetrics in baseball. The book itself is fantastic. It's like a genuine page turner. It kind of reads like a thriller, even though it's covering sports events that most people who are reading the book already knew occurred. The other thing about the movie and the book is that, it's largely chronicling a kind of modest success at best, but basically it's another story about a loser. We just did Inside Llewyn Davis in this series, which is a story about somebody who doesn't quite fulfill his promise and become as famous as he hopes to become. Billy Beane still has not won a World Series. He's no longer the general manager or executive president of the A's. In fact, the A's don't even play in Oakland anymore.
Yeah.
And weirdly, this movie still has this incredible sentimental hold on us, even though, I don't care about the A's.
No.
At all.
But, I think part of we like it because it is a baseball movie, and you are a baseball psychotic. I do love baseball, not as much as Sean. But it is even beyond a baseball movie at this point. It is just sort of a pop cultural phenomenon. I sat and watched the Hatterberg home run because I really wanted to see that with a crowd of people. And then the Brad Pitt head swoop up is it's a meme now at this point, right? And it is, and now I think the Moneyball of something, or they're moneyballing this as shorthand for whatever. So it's pretty weird that a nonfiction math and business text became a movie that was nominated for many Oscars and that is now pop cultural shorthand for, whenever anyone's feeling misunderstood in the workplace and just, you want me to talk? Yeah. When I point at you. Yeah.
Do you relate more to Billy or more to Peter Brand?
Oh,
Jonah Hill's character, who is based on the real life figure Paul D. Podesta, but slightly changed.
Well, I know you relate to Billy, but do you? Or do you feel more like a Peter?
To hear you say that.
Well, yeah, I
was never drafted by the Mets, like
right.
Billy, though I wish I was.
In many ways, the Mets let you down every year. So, thank you.
Just mean.
Yeah, sorry. If you're listening at home, I'm wearing a Cubs jersey right now, which was extra mean to Sean. Yeah. Go Cubs. Sorry again about today.
Amanda has allegiance to 9 baseball teams.
I have renounced the Braves, okay? It's not worth it. But also, when you're angry, you don't really speak. And
that's true.
You snack a lot.
I do love to snack.
So in that sense, you seem pretty Billy. I
have a young daughter.
There you go. Yeah. You want to talk about it?
Well, I don't think I really thought about the movie in that way when I saw it back when it was released 15 years ago. And now I watch this, and this is a movie about a dad who's kind of fucked up, and who's not really coming to grips with what's actually important in his life. And he thinks that winning is everything. And he thinks that success, and, it's a character study about a guy who thought he was the prince who was promised and has spent his adult life reckoning with the fact that he was not. And so he's constantly trying to rebuild the promise that he thought he was going to achieve. And he can't, and he doesn't realize really that the promise is in his family and the daughter that he is a father to. And it's a very beautiful movie if you see it in that very specific respect. If you peel away the memes and he gets on base and, Jonah Hill mugging while reading statistics off. If you peel all that stuff away, you can tell that the people who were drawn to this movie, Bennett Miller is not a sports movie hero. He's made 2 sports movies, but he's interested in people and characters, and that's obviously what drew Pitt to it. And it's just a very affecting story about the very unique relationship between dads and daughters. You have a very strong relationship with your dad as well.
I did. I went to a lot of baseball games with him growing up. And I do think he likes this movie. We've had mixed results with him on 25 for 25 so far.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that this gets a thumbs up.
So he's been saying The Handmaiden, you guys suck? Has he been going on Reddit?
Wouldn't that be incredible? I don't think he knows. Okay. Actually, maybe he does. Let's not go there. Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting about it as a sports movie is the big game is just like a winning streak game in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
There's no dramatic playoff moment where they're in the World Series. They don't even make it to the World Series, and there are sports movies and baseball movies that have done that before. Major League famously doesn't end with winning the World Series, but the movie almost doesn't care if you don't get that. It's not really ultimately interested in that idea of success. It's about whether the success of the idea happens. The idea of changing the way that people think about something. that feels like dogmatic and systematic, and breaking that down too, which is pretty heady for a mainstream September release starring Brad Pitt. I give them an incredible amount of credit for.
To quote Billy Bean, it has to mean something. But in terms of the actual baseball, you only see the moments of failure throughout the movie, with the exception of the Hatterberg home run. But even that streak, I guess, they recreate and kind of put together some archival of certain wins or victories or, signs in the stands. But you don't see the 11 runs that they score. You don't see those first 3 innings. You sit through the very punishing at error after error after error. And the movie really is more interested in the failure, in the not quite getting there, or, what are we trying to get out of this, or how can we punish you? It is people are very mad in this movie most of the time.
Yeah, I think there's something to the idea of being obsessed with your job and thinking that there is an inherent moral value in the work that you're doing, even if what you're doing is kind of bullshit entertainment. I don't relate to this at all. It's amazing I can even enjoy this movie with that as one of its core ideas. But you can tell there are many shots of Brad Pitt looking into the middle distance, pondering his lost fate.
Yeah.
Which sounds really boring.
Sure.
And so why do you think it effectively works?
Well, it's a good face, and let's be real. I slandered the pants, but everything else is working well. But understatement. I think it's his best performance. And I think that some of it is that it does not ask him to speak as much as some other movies do. And he is very good at reacting, or he's very good at looking pissed, or looking regretful, or looking just like he would like to be somewhere else, unless he's eating a Twinkie. And we talk about all the time that movie star thing that he holds the frame. But this movie opens with a bunch of old footage from the playoffs, and then him sitting alone in a stadium, just turning a radio on. And it is riveting. And it's just because he can hold the frame. And he also, I think, found the right role in this, of someone who is emotionally repressed, has a lot of things that he would like to change about his life. And it's also pretty physical. He doesn't have to play baseball in this, but it is very athletic. He is throwing stuff around a lot in it. And that is a good match for Pitt as well. And a good match for the movie.
Yeah, that Gatorade cooler takes a beating in that scene.
I mean, the desk.
Yeah. Incredible supporting cast in this movie. Some of you may recall Jonah Hill was not a dramatic actor as far as we knew before this movie. Easily best known as kind of an Apatow player off the huge success of Superbad. And he was Academy Award nominated for this role. He's a very unlikely person to be cast in this role, in part because if you've ever seen Paul DiPodesta, he's like a very tall, skinny guy. And in the version that Steven Soderbergh was going to make, Demetri Martin, the comedian, was going to play the Peter Brand character. So Jonah is a pretty hard pivot away from what they were doing there. But I think his comic timing mixed with a kind of glazed over sincerity that he applies to this is really helps the movie, because Pitt really needs a foil, because he's so restrained in his performance, except when he's throwing things, that he needs somebody who can give him comic timing, give him something to bounce off of constantly.
And they're well matched. They respond to each other, and you can watch Pitt. I don't know whether he's just being entertained by Jonah, or whether, that is just really good acting. He's a pretty good actor, but you can see in the moment that, the movie is a little bit about them figuring out, their relationship and their mission together, as well as whatever it is with his daughter. So they play off each other. And he's just also very funny.
So Philip Seymour Hoffman, who plays Art Howe, who also managed the Mets, by the way, and he sucked. Hoffman had acted in Capote, Bennett Miller's first narrative feature film, and won an Academy Award for Best Actor for that role. And this is kind of a small role, kind of a nothing part on the page if you're not Philip Seymour Hoffman. and he brings a tremendous amount of gravitas, and he looks like a baseball manager.
Yeah.
There are a lot of baseball managers with that physique and that posture and that kind of glower that he brings to the table. And he's also really good because Philip Seymour Hoffman is not afraid of Brad Pitt. Like he is not intimidated by him. And there are a lot of scenes where they really have to openly share contempt for one another.
You are outside your mind.
And I love the series of confrontations that are written for them because Pitt is playing a version of himself, an overconfident movie star, and Howe is a overweight manager and the cheapest team in the Major League Baseball. And they have like an unusual anti-chemistry that I think is like one of the rare aspects of tension in the movie. There's actually not a lot of ultimate tension that isn't internal, that isn't born of like, can Billy do it? There has to be some sort of foil for him going through the movie. And, Rudy Giuliani and the Yankees aside, there's not a lot presented there.
Yeah. You forgot Grady. And we can't forget Grady and the rest of the scouts.
Yeah. Those guys, those
which
fuckers.
Is another, just one of the great scenes of the 21st century.
Do you know kind of where we stand with baseball right now in this debate? Like, have you followed this? Have you been reading the sabermetricians?
No, I haven't been reading the sabermetricians. So what I know is because I see you all of the time and I see Chris all the time and I live with one of your friends who's also sports obsessed. So it gets filtered. So I know that Moneyball went for all the other sports for a while, right? Mm-hmm. And so like the stats wave went through, and now in football, you're always supposed to go for fourth down, or you're never supposed to go for fourth down, right? You're always supposed to, but Bill doesn't like that, right?
Who's
because
Bill?
Our boss, Bill Simmons. That's good. You got me. So the stats, and then people are like, we've gone too far with the stats, and then what are we? So, but I don't know where we are right now.
I would say we're somewhere in the middle.
Right, there we go.
The eye test still matters. And the interesting thing about this movie, Grady Fuson, who is portrayed in the movie as the head scout of the Oakland A's, who's unceremoniously fired for saying fuck you to Billy in the movie, was a long-time scout and minor league coach with the Oakland Athletics. And according to him and some others, was very supportive in real life of the revolution that Billy was trying to push with Paul DePodesta. But for the purposes of the movie, they took some dramatic license with that story. Notably, Grady Fuson, where everywhere he went after this, he kind of flamed out every time, trying to hold on to some of the old ways. But that is the other theme of the movie is, can you introduce new ways of thinking into these worlds, but not lose your soul? That what Grady Fuson represents is unusual. That's usually what the hero of a movie is trying to stand for, that we are about something and we can't get rid of it in favor of data and metrics and a kind of soulless approach. And weirdly, Billy represents something that I think like today, we're pretty skeptical of. We're pretty dubious of having our lives dominated by a data center, if you've seen Eddington.
God. Yeah, he's playing earlier today here at the Music Box.
Playing here at the Music Box.
Adapt or die coming from literally anyone else right now. We are allergic to. But I think, the movie wisely softens it because it invents the Hatterberg character played by Chris Pratt in one of his best movie roles, I feel confident in saying in public.
So it's number 1, Electric State. Number 2, Jurassic World Dominion.
I saw that.
Number 3 is...
Guardians 3, my favorite of the Guardians 3. Movies.
The Tomorrow War is 4.
Right. Don't forget Passengers.
Passengers 5. Sure. Let's keep going.
Super
Mario Brothers
Garfield.
movie 6.
Oh, he wasn't bad in that.
Garfield 7.
Yeah.
Jurassic World 8. Help me out here, folks.
Someone yelled Bike Wars? What?
Bride Wars 9.
Right.
Thank
He's
you.
One of the husbands. Guys, we got to talk about Bride Wars. I understand we need that kind of representation, but also do we, I'm
really excited to announce that we're going to wrap this episode up because we're about to show number 13 on our list, Bride Wars. A great film about the bride industrial complex. What's it about? I haven't seen it.
It's 2 best friends and they're getting married like close to the same time, or is it the same day? Same day. I mean, that's not realistic.
Dob Mob.
Thank you guys. And it's Anne Hathaway and Kate Hudson, right?
Anne Hathaway is in that movie?
Yeah. And then
I should watch that movie.
Chris Pratt, and then who's the other husband? Who? Okay, all right.
Guys, this is being recorded for a podcast.
Okay.
I need you to have your phones out with information quickly for us.
Anyway, Chris Pratt, Hatterberg, is also, he is both, I guess, this representation of the stats and also...
He's a real person,
but he's a real person, and he is also a second chance, and you know, he also has one daughter who, you know, comes out in the crucial scene at the home and is like, hey, daddy, I love you. So, you know, it's like the themes are aligning. She's very cute. I hope she had a great Christmas. You know, so the movie is very smart in how it's constructed. And in order to soften what you're right is a lot of numbers. And it shows like a lot of numbers, just a lot of spreadsheets. Must be why you love this movie.
Well, I relate to some of it.
Yeah.
It has a very curious production history, which I think isn't necessarily always worth talking about for these conversations, but for this one it is. It was optioned shortly after publication, and Stan Shervin was hired to write the screenplay. He very quickly moved on. They hired Steven Zalian, writer of Schindler's List, the night of the recent Ripley series on Netflix, like literally considered one of the most skilled screenwriters in Hollywood for the last 40 years. And Steven Soderbergh was going to direct that movie.
Yeah.
And Soderbergh's vision for the movie was really interesting. It was kind of like if you made Reds as a baseball movie, where he was going to use into-camera testimony and real-life people performing from the film. So Scott Hatterberg would have acted in this movie. Chad Bradford would have acted in this movie. A number of figures. I don't know if I think Brad Pitt was still going to play Billy Bean.
Was David Justice going to be in it?
But I'm sure David Justice would have been in it. And it was a very audacious movie that was still going to be an expensive studio movie. And reportedly, Soderbergh, 3 or 4 days before production, added a lot of things to the script that included adding a lot more stuff about statistics. And Amy Pascal, who was running Sony at the time, said, "What the fuck is this? This is unintelligible to regular, normal moviegoers." And right before production, she put the movie in turnaround and paused it completely. Soderbergh walked away. He went off on his journey of making 9 movies a year. And she hired Aaron Sorkin. And there was so much Sorkinian stuff in this movie that I have to assume was not there. And I'm sure that the dad-daughter stuff is a part of that. And I'm sure a lot of that, kind of the nobility of the work, which is so common in all of Sorkin's TV shows and movies, the idea of like just doing the thing in an honest and decent way.
Sure. And also you find yourself at work and you find your people at work, and your work is it is
Again,
very
I can't
Sorkin-y.
relate to the movie.
No, it's true. I mean, not that that's not Soderbergh coded either, at least in my understanding of him. You were describing the Soderbergh script to me yesterday while we were waiting for our flight at the airport. And, you know, the movie that we saw is not unlike what you described in that, I mean, it certainly still has a lot of math. Instead of people talking directly to camera, it uses a lot of talk radio, but it does use a lot of archival of the real people. Like, you know, there is a recreated collage feeling and like a good amount of math. No equations, I guess. But, you know, as devoted as I am to the Steven Soderbergh project, I am happy that we got the movie that we got.
The thing that's fascinating about it is that Bennett Miller is hired after Sorkin completes a draft. And Bennett Miller, to that point, had made a documentary called The Cruise. How many people have seen The Cruise? Are you familiar with that movie? Speed Levitch, who was featured in Richard Linklater movies. It follows him. And then he made Capote, which was written by his friend Dan Futterman. And then he gets hired to make this movie 6 years later with relatively little interest in baseball, as far as I can tell, but understands the character aspect of this beautifully. He makes this great film. He makes Foxcatcher 4 years later, a movie that no longer exists, and which I kind of liked, honestly, but it's a little self-serious. And then he has not done anything since. And I wonder if like the legacy of this movie is dimmed at all because Bennett Miller hasn't made a movie in over 10 years.
Well, on our list, it's one of the rare movies that is not like, oh, this is this director's slot. Like Foxcatcher was not in consideration. There's so much wrestling in that movie, and some other stuff. But
Like what?
but everyone else, it was like, okay, well, this will be our Nolan. That's why you didn't get Dark Knight. And I mean, it's long. You guys have seen it. You live here, and this will be our.
Are you suggesting that The Dark Knight is a documentary about Chicago?
I'm going on a boat tour tomorrow, and that's what I'm expecting. So
I'll be playing the Joker during that boat tour.
So I guess in some ways, if you want to be rude, this is taking there are many celebrated directors who we devote whole episodes to who aren't going to be on this list.
Yeah.
And this is.
Sorry, Taylor Sheridan.
But for me, it was a no-brainer.
6 Academy Award nominations. Yeah. Picture, actor, supporting actor, adapted screenplay, film editing, and sound mixing.
Yeah.
No director. Do you remember who Brad Pitt lost to?
Well, I do because you put it in the doc. This is very upsetting. Does anyone else here? Does anyone remember? Yep.
Jean Dujardin for The Artist.
Yes, that's the groaning. I hope the mics picked that up.
Some people like The Artist.
Correct.
I don't. And I don't like, I don't dislike that performance. I just don't, I literally don't understand what happened there. I do understand what happened there.
Sure.
Harvey Weinstein happened. That's what happened. And that's terrible. And we hate that. But, Pitt, of course, 8 years later will eventually win Best Supporting Actor for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Which he's very good in.
He's very good in. But like so many before him and so many after him, very rarely winning for the right role. Mm-hmm. And that is an interesting sliding doors because if he wins in 11, then somebody else wins in 19. Maybe our friend Tracy Letts for Ford versus Ferrari could have gotten in there, It's tough. It's too bad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots at the Academy.
Once again, our streak on this list of just no Oscars means, or no Oscar wins.
Means it's an all-time
on the
classic.
List. Yeah, as soon as
what
you win
about
an Oscar,
Oppenheimer?
you're out. Well, once again, you know how I felt about that episode.
Okay. Usually when Roger Ebert and Manohla Dargis are like, this movie is crack, then it's crack. Uh-huh. And this was a case. 4 stars from Ebert.
It's like I was really nervous something else was coming.
Roger Ebert said 0 stars. This movie, no, he loved it. And Manohla wrote at length about the kind of use of Pitt's power and what he kind of brings as a movie star type, and him kind of like filtering in your Robert Redford types, the kind of like strong, silent figures. It's like incredibly well regarded, a very adult movie that did very good business at the box office. $120 million is like a $50 or $60 million movie. And we did used to say a lot in the last 5 years, they don't make them like they used to anymore. Mm-hmm. Certainly a book based on, nonfiction adaptation seems unusual, but I'm going the other way.
You're optimistic?
Yeah. In the year of Minecraft.
Okay.
I feel like we're back.
Great. Good. So Moneyball and then Minecraft. That's the direct.
They're both
line.
IP.
They are. Would this have been eligible in the IP franchise category in whatever draft we did? I guess so. Sure.
When they make a sequel about whatever the hell they're doing to the A's right now and sending them to Las Vegas. You following that?
What would the Mets version of Moneyball be?
It'd be like Dog Day Afternoon. We're all being held hostage. They won't let us out. The bank robbers don't know what they're doing. Cops are screaming in the street. It's 100 degrees out. We can't get out of New York. They won't let us free.
That's good. Good job.
Thanks. Is this movie standing in for anything else? Was this in competition with anything else? Even if there wasn't another Bennett Miller movie, is there anything you can think of from what we were examining?
So definitely sports movie, but I don't even know what would have been in contention, beyond besides this.
Leatherheads?
Oh my God. Lol.
What sports movies should we have done? Speed Racer. Wow, that's a bold one. I like that.
Challengers. Thank you, guys.
Challengers.
Sure. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. But play that tape out, right? Because that's Luca Guadagnino. So then you've got 5 movies or 6. So
what else? So Challengers isn't on the list?
Challengers is not on the list. This is our sports movie. I'm sorry to say. I know. Wow. Well, next year I'll do my own list.
On what show?
but I can't think of any other sports movies that are also on the, the quote unquote prestige level, for lack of a better word, but really any others that we both have a connection to. It's come up on the show a lot. I thought that more people were going to guess that this movie was Moneyball, because we have talked about how every time we're asked to host any sort of rep screening, we're like, how about Moneyball? And then
we said no 4 times.
Yeah,
so we did this.
Thank you so much, Music Box
correct
Theater.
the record.
And thank you all. Was anyone tempted to leave? You're all still here. I don't see any empty seats. Maybe keep it to yourself. But yeah, we love this movie.
Yeah. So recommended if you like is something we talk about at the end of all of these conversations.
Yeah.
There are a couple of sports business movies that I think could have stood in for this. Most of them are fairly recent. Air comes to mind. Air is sort of a similar movie to this in terms of ideas and the relationship between commerce and finance and decision making around sports.
And some movie stars in questionable pants.
Yes.
But we love them anyway.
Hustle, the recent Adam Sandler movie about a basketball scout, player personnel person. F1.
F1 is very Moneyball coded.
Very Moneyball. And I maybe we didn't talk about that when we talked about F1, but I think a lot of what Pitt is doing is just channeling Billy, like the guy who never really made it. He's done this before. Kind of a demerit for F1, to be honest with you. Anyway, speaking of Air, though, I thought a lot about Good Will Hunting watching this movie a second time. Like the wizard who just kind of needs to tap into everything and all the math and all the we're just waiting for you to really have the big moment, buddy. We're all rooting for you. Hope you're not at your door when we pick you up in the morning.
Boston plays a pivotal moment, and then someone has to go on their way.
Yeah. Are you hoping one day I'm just not in the chair in a recording? I've taken off.
Yeah. Well, we've got a couple people in the room who are ready if need be. So I know who to call now.
Third chair attendees.
Yeah. Just no one in particular.
We'll put them to a vote tomorrow.
I thought a lot about Friday Night Lights. Really more the show than the movie, but the movie too. But especially the score and the music and people just doing their best.
Yeah. And you love progressive rock, right? That's a genre that you're really interested in.
I actually played on the score. I was in the session.
Wow. So. What instrument? Timpani?
That was me. Yeah.
Okay. Really impressive.
My son.
I also wrote All the President's Men.
Sure. Procedural
process movie, trying to figure out the right way to do things, and also taking you inside of a world that you don't totally understand and showing you literally how people do things, literally how people talk about things, which is one of the best things you can do in a movie. That's more or less it. What else do you want to say about Moneyball?
We didn't talk enough about Spike Jonze. Just one of the great cameos.
Yeah,
and
as
the
team
sandals.
Shaping up this year.
Things are really peaceful here.
Uh-huh.
I think
I owned those sandals when I was 15, and at the time I was like, "This is a great idea. I'm gonna wear these in March to high school on Long Island."
Yeah,
and it was a bad idea.
Yeah,
I regret it, but he's pulling them off.
Well, in the context of that beautiful, peaceful living room, it is a very nice living room.
Do you think Spike should act more?
Yeah, I think he should do whatever he wants.
He's another guy who hasn't made a movie in 10 years.
Yeah, a lot of Her on the New York Times movies of the year.
People
list.
like the film Her.
Yeah. I like
because
it
they
too.
love AI.
Okay.
I think that's where we're gonna wrap.
Yeah.
This has been really, really special for us.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. And also,
we are eternally grateful that people care about movies and listen to the show and would come out for something like this. So thank you so much. Thank you to the Music Box Theater, which is a very special place.
Thank you. And they let us keep this movie a secret, which is an amazing thing. And thanks to all of you for just coming to see a movie without knowing what it was. That's genuinely cool and very nice that you would trust us.
For those of you who are disappointed by this pick, Chris will be hosting a screening of Cruising in the Alley out back, which sounds really fun. I do want to say thank you to Elizabeth Fearman and our whole events team. Thank you to Jack Sanders for his work on this episode.
In the house.
Shout out Jack, who's been rolling with us all day. Thank you to Jack Wilson, who's here, who runs video at The Ringer. He's here with us today. We are going to be at the Steppenwolf Theater tomorrow night.
We are.
I hope some of you will be there. We will be drafting Chicago movies. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.
Thank you all so much.